But for everybody else, I think there's this kind of crippling anxiety, or can become crippling, around looking at people that are just more extroverted naturally, and being like, is that the standard for kind of like putting myself out there and like and feeling that I belong at the table and feeling that they're going to be friends already? Because it's super scary, right? Like if you don't have that naturally. And so the way that I've worked with people, just maybe even not like a session, but just like friends or like people like colleagues, like the way that we kind of work together, if they are a little bit more introverted naturally, is to start to actually like map, kind of think about and actually kind of write down and start to understand where your limits are. So like, if you're a computer engineer, like a software engineer, you're most likely not going to be in sales, right? So your limit doesn't have to be, I'm going to make a cold call. That's kind of like a silly, but maybe it's more social. Maybe it's like, hey, I really want to go like in Austin. I live in Austin, Texas, and there's this thing called the Austin Sports and Social Club where it's just like you can play like dodgeball and kickball and like soft, whatever. It's just a chance to meet people and kind of play sports, right? So maybe like the first step is signing up for a team. Like there's no limits to do that, right? And like just showing up to that first practice and like first kind of meeting is enough. You don't have to go to the social afterwards. Like you were there, like you can go home and like that's a check mark. That's a success, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then maybe like the fourth time you go, you can join for the drinks afterward. But like maybe you need some time to kind of warm up and see who you like, and like that's totally fine. Like it's as long as you kind of have a mindset of like celebrating these little steps and these little successes, and having somebody, whether it's family or friends, that you're like chatting to about this, right? And being like, hey, I did it. I showed up at the sports club. Like like I did it. Like I went and I came home and like I'm gonna go to bed. I'm exhausted. That was enough social for me for like a week, right?